Nope, we didn't. It was nice. And exam.
Okay, there we go. So let's go ahead and get this first one done here together. And somebody jacked this around, man. Work. Okay. So up here, we want to go ahead and get this thing done. So we had already sketched this, and it's missing now. That's okay. 2, 3. Not a big deal. Like this. And then, of course, here, I think we had gone by tens. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. That. So I had asked you guys to do the highs and the lows, and then if you wanted to, you could try to go ahead and write these functions. So in January, we said it was 35. So here's 35, right about there. And then we said 39 was in this one, so right about there. And then 3 March was 50. April was 62. May was 71. June was 80. Then 84, up a little higher. And then it was down to 83. There. Then it was 76. I think those are not up high enough. This guy here. And 76 was about there. That looks better. And then we had 64. Here's 60. Here maybe. Down a little bit. 51. And then it was 38. So we had this graph. And our goal was to try to write this. And we know what would happen is if I did, like, let's say this was January of 20, let's say this was 2020. 2021 should basically be the exact same graph again. It should repeat itself. The average is not going to change in 1 year like that. Okay? So it basically would repeat itself over and over again. So what I have to do now is use what I need on here to find the graph. What do I need? Midline, amplitude, right? Those are the things I need on this in order to go ahead and get my graph, so my function. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. What do I know? Well, where's the midline going to be at? The midline for this thing is the average of the max and the min. So the high was an 84, and the low was 35. Wait, 35? Yeah, 35, that's right. Okay, so that gives me 119. So half of 119 is 54.5. Yes? Is that right? Say no, Mr. Snyder, that's not right. That's half of 109, Mr. Snyder. What's half of 119? 59.5. You guys still have to answer. That's okay. All right, there we go. So now this is my value of K. Got it. Now I can find the amplitude. How do I find the amplitude? It's the distance from the midline to the max. All I have to do is take 84 minus 59.5. That's all I would have to do. 84 minus 59.5 is what? It's 84 minus 59.5. What's 84 minus 60? 24.5. Thank you. Got that. So I've got two of my values. All right, now we have to think about how we're going to do this. Okay? So the midline we said was at 59.5. So here's the midline right here. Which graph starts on the midline? Which graph of our sine and cosine curves, guys, which one would start on a midline? Sine. So I don't think I'm going to write this as a sine function. Why not? Why am I not going to write this as a sine function? Do I have an actual value that's 59.5 on my table? I don't. But I do have the maximum, don't I? I do have the maximum. And which graph starts at a maximum? The cosine curve does. The cosine curve starts on a maximum. So that means I want to start it right here in the month of what? I'm going to write mine using that place right there. Okay? That's where I'm going to start it at. So what is my phase shift on this then? If I want to move it 7 to the right, what's it going to be? So if I want it over here, I'm going to move it over to 7. So it's going to end up being what in the inside then? X minus 7. Okay, so there's that. Period. The period is always 2 pi, okay, divided by b. We know that. What is the period on this? 12 months. It's 12 months. So what do? I take, how do we find b? B is equal to what? 2 pi divided by the period of 12, which is what? Pi over. Now I should be able to write my function. I have everything I need to write this function. Y equals 24.5. We said we're going to write it as a cosine curve. The cosine of, what goes here? B, pi over 6. Now it's the phase shift, x minus 7. Then it's the midline, 59.5. So let's go ahead and do that on Desmos and take a look at it now and see how good we did. Okay? Let's go ahead. I'll call up Desmos. Just modify this one a little bit maybe. So here we go. There it is. So we're going to make this 24.5 cosine of pi over 6. And we're going to change this. I'm going to make this x minus 7. Out here, I'm just going to name this y instead. And plus 59.5. Now, I'm actually going to take this. This is something you can do on Desmos. I don't really want to look at the entire graph. All I want to look at on there is 1 year. So I can take this. If I put these types of brackets, okay, I can restrict the values of x. So I'm going to say I want x to go from 0, okay, which is fine. Then I'm going to put, if I can call this up here, boom, x, boom, 12. And now you'll see this, okay? There is the graph right there. Let's actually put in y equals our midline of 59.5. You can see that right there. If we want, we could make this go for 2 years. We could go out to 24 and look at it. Whoops, not 242. There we go. Boom. There it is. Okay, so if I went to, on this, the 7th month, which is right here, there it is. 7th month, the high was, average was 84. What would this be right here? 13, 85. That'd be January again, right? It'd just be a repeat. January's at 35 because this is what? January of, the average temperature is 35. What would this be? what would this be finding right here?
Average time between January and February.
The average temperature in the middle of January. Correct? That's what it should be. Okay? So here we have created a graph that is showing the average temperature. So if I go through here, okay, I'm able to go ahead and see 7th month. So what if I wanted to know, like, oh, what's the average temperature on July 15th? How would I do that? Or let's make it easier. How about I want to know the average temperature for today? Today is what? April what? 15th. Okay. How would I figure out what the average temperature is for April 15th? So how many days are in April? That's 30. Guess what we're at? The halfway point. So what would we be at right now? What would be the month I put in? 4.5. Let's go ahead and do it. If I put in 4.5, okay, we'll come over here. Look what it says it is. It would usually, the average is about 65.8. Today we're below average. Okay? But the average normally at this time of the year is about a 65.8 degrees. So this is how you model something that repeats over and over and over. Okay? The same technique would be used for the low temperatures. Okay? The lows. Now, I just want to try something here. Do we need to actually graph it, do you think, to do that? Do I need to graph it to actually get this information? Like, what did I really need to know? The maximum, the minimum, because that lets me find the what? Amplitude and the midline. So the max and min allow me to find midline and amplitude. What about this? This is where your graph might come in handy, but if you know the maximum, where it occurs, you automatically know it. Or if you know where the minimum occurs, you automatically can do a what? Inverted cosine. What about this? Do I have to have a graph to find this? No, because we know what? How long does this repeat? How often does this repeat? Every 12 months. Let's do this one without. Here we go. Who can tell me on the lows what the maximum was? And then can somebody tell me the minimum on those? So I don't have to scroll back and up and down. What was the max? 65? When did that happen? I'm just going to write it here. July again? I figured it was. Okay? And the minimum? 20. And that was when?
January.
That was in January? Okay, beautiful. Love that. So now I have those. So let's go ahead and find our value of K, the midline. So 65 and 20 is 85. 85 divided by 2 is 42.5. That's half of 85. So I've got K. The amplitude of this thing is going to be 65 this or 42 minus this. It's whichever way I want to do it. It's 22.5. Okay, so I've got my amplitude now. Now, this one, since January is a minimum, I'm going to shift it to January and do an inverted cosine. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to have my H value be 1. And that means my A value is going to be what? If I'm going to start at a minimum, my A value has to be a negative. So I'm just going to write that for myself. Boom. And then this period is going to be the exact same. Or B is. B is going to be what again? Pi over 6. Let's write it. It better take me through the maxes and the mins of this. It'd be really nice if it did. Here we go. Let me call that up. I'm going to just pull that over here so I can see it still. So this time we said we're going to do an inverted, so it's negative 22.5. And that stays the same. This is going to be x minus 1. And then the midline is at 42.5. Okay, and let's put this here. Beautiful. Love it. Okay, do that. So, boom. Uh-oh, something's not right here. Negative 22.5, 5 or 6, x minus 1. I don't think I put my cosine in here. That helps. There it is. Should we do? Boom. January. Is that what we said it was? July. Is that what we said it was? Beautiful. I can find out right now again. I can put in what? X equals 4.5. And then this would tell me what? The average low. So tonight, the average low usually at this time of year would be 48. I think this morning when I woke up, it was 44. So you guys understand now why we kind of did sine and cosine, what the value of those can be? To go ahead and model something that repeats over and over and over again. And then you can use that, write a function, to then find out when something's going to happen or what we expect it to be at a certain period of time. It allows us to solve questions then about that scenario. All right. Any questions on those two at all? Okay, so if you did it, great. If you didn't, don't worry about it. I had asked you guys. That's not it. Where is your? That's not it. Well, where's the packet I made for you guys? Maybe I didn't turn it into a thing yet. Let me do this real fast. So we're going to go ahead and look at that packet. Does anybody need this? True, I didn't give you a copy of this, or did I? I did? Okay. So that's what I want you guys to pull out. I gave you guys that, right? Yeah. On Tuesday. And I said, if anything, just do what? Try to sketch the graphs. If you didn't, no big deal. No biggie. I'm not going to get upset about it. Okay, so let me go ahead. I think this is it. Yeah, that's it. How many problems did you just have? 5, 6, 5? The last one's numbered wrong, I think. It should be 5. Is the last one a Ferris wheel? So let me go ahead and print this as a smart. So would everybody just read number 1? If you haven't done it yet, read number 1. Then I would like you to try to sketch a graph of that if you haven't. I'll give you a few minutes to try that. Okay? So read number 1 and sketch a graph of that if you would, please. Start labeling mine. So I'm just going to go count by twos here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 18. That works great. Okay, across the bottom. That's what I did. Most of you probably did the same thing, I'm sure. Across the bottom, I could just go what? Every one. So I'm just going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's get our points on here. So it says the roller coaster, the pummeler, has a continuous series of identical hills that are 18 meters high from the ground. The platform to get on the ride is on the top of the first hill. So you don't go up the first hill, you actually start there. Okay, it takes 3 seconds for the coaster to reach the bottom of the hill 2 meters off the ground. Okay, and it says it has a continuous series of identical hills. So here we go. So what do I know then? Okay, so at 0 seconds, I'm going to be at 18. At 3 seconds, I'm going to be at 2. And then the idea is at what? At 6 seconds, where should I be at? 18. Okay? Sketch a graph below, expressing the path for 24 seconds. Now, you know what? Don't worry about this. I should have changed that. We don't need 24 seconds worth of that. Okay? So I'm just going to go ahead. There it is, right? So let's go ahead and write down the information we need to do this problem. We know the max is 18, and we know the minimum is 2. So what is the midline K at? 10. Boom. We should know that the absolute value of A, the amplitude, I don't know why I put that, that's magnitude. Absolute value of A is 8. Is there a phase shift on this one? There is no phase shift, right? There's none. So H on this would be 0, in other words. It's starting right where I want it to be at. Now, the period on this is how much? How much time does it take to go through a full cycle? 6 seconds, right? That means that B is equal to 2 pi over 6, which is pi over, I can write my function then. Here we go. I'm going to write it, of course, as a cosine function. What I'm choosing to. Y equals 8 cosine of, here it's going to be pi over 3 x. I don't have to put brackets in brackets because there's no phase shift left or right. And the last part is plus the midline of plus 10. Got it. There it is. Now I want you to see if you have any questions on what we just did there. You okay with that one? Good. Here's what I want you to do. I would like you to try number 2 and get B. Okay? I'm not going to do anything here at all. I'm just going to give you the answer in a second for this. Now, let's read it. Lexi's floating on a tube in a wave tank. So in other words, that wave tank would be like level water. And then the waves start and she goes up. She's going to go up. She's going to go down, right? That's what's going on. So it tells you at t equals 1 second, she goes to a height of 14. 8 seconds, she goes to a minimum height of 2. Okay? I need you to go ahead and try to figure out what is the equation to model her height at any time t. If I've given you the max and the min, that's a lot. We're going to talk about this. You want to see if you have it right, Keaton? Did you get an answer? See if you have it right. Oh, you might have a little bit. Nice. All right. So I'm going to just show you what I have. I wrote it as a cosine function. That was what I chose. And I wrote it as y equals 6 cosine of pi over 7 times x minus 1 plus the midline, which was what, 8. That's what I chose. Okay? We okay with that one? Again, this is one really where you would need a graph, because if I tell you where the max and the min are, what did I just, and I tell you the times, what have I given you? I've given you the max and the min. Like here is a max at 1 second, and then there's a minimum at 8 seconds. What part of the period is that? Half of it, right? So that means I could go ahead and find the whole period. Yeah. The difference here is how many seconds? You doubled 8, didn't you? It starts at 1 second in.
Oh,
That's why.
I did 9 minus 1.
Oh, okay. That's okay. That's a simple. So it's not it's a computation. Anybody else? Yeah. You did an inverse cosine. So what did you do for your phase shift here? Did you move it over to?
I had like the same thing that you have, just inverse cosine. I don't know what really.
You mean you had this as -6 here?
I had -6 cosine.
But all this is the same? That would start on a minimum though.
That's why.
It starts on a maximum height, right? Is that okay, Owen?
Yeah.
All right. Anybody? Yeah.
Was that part C on it?
We haven't even talked about this. So part C, it says, what is Lexi's height from the bottom of the pool at 21 seconds? All I have to do is plug 21 in where? As x. Now, on Desmos, so on Desmos, if you're doing this using Desmos, okay, we'll talk about the different ways to use Desmos to your advantage, guys. So let me go ahead, real quick, get rid of this. I'm just going to get rid of this. So I'm going to write it like this. H of t. I'm going to change just what I have here, equals 6 cosine of pi over, you say it was 7, parentheses of x minus 1, and then plus the 8. Okay. So I'm going to go back to a standard screen here. This, radians. Oh, it's because I put an X in here. I was like, what happened? All right, so here it is. So here we can see 1 second in, she's at a max. 8 seconds in, she's at a minimum. I said I want to know what is her height in 21 seconds. So I could type in x equals 21 to get that answer right here. Or I could type in h of 21 and let it evaluate it for me as a function. That's one reason it's nice to write this as a function notation. If you write this in function notation here, then down here you can replace this input value with anything you want, and it evaluates it for you. They're both the same, giving you the exact same answer though. It doesn't matter which way you choose to do it. Okay? All right. Any questions on that one? So here's what we're going to do. I'd like you guys, what we'll do is, of course, you got a break coming up here in a second. I'd like us to finish this in class today and go over the rest of these. Okay? So that means you're going to be working on 3, 4, and 5. All right? Yeah, it's actually, it says 6, but it's 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to go ahead. See how we did, how we're doing on this. What? Why not? Whoa. Okay, so here we go. Yeah. This is math. Exactly. I don't know who's taught the month. I had to learn them on my own. Like, no teacher ever taught me the month. I just looked it up. Yeah. Like, I didn't know April had 30 days. Yeah, 30 days. I supposedly it's like nothing. Nobody ever taught me. No, I don't.
The equation?
Oh, what is between that and that?
It's a period, I'm pretty sure. Wait, what's
It starts at,
it ends in July.
yeah, so January, February, March,
Seven?
and then the
So
period.
7 out of
Is that
12.
half?
It's not 7. It might be 7 out of 12.
You're gonna start seeing.
Oh, yeah.
Friday.
Yeah, I don't know how to make it. Other
Well,
than
that's what I did. I just need those notes. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think that's what
I just
you
yeah,
should.
I just want simple.
Yeah, no, I think that's what you should.
Well, And then I can do it. It's just knowing, oh wait, it's just knowing the period wouldn't be 14. No, the period would be 14 times 2 pi over 5. So pi over 7. Pi over 7.
Yeah.
And then that's
Yeah, but it's like,
theta minus
but it's
1.
wrong, so you can't get
And then
You can't just do that. Where are you getting this box from?
let's see. Holy. Wait. No, it's not. Because you're starting at 1. So, what's 7 plus 6? So it ends at 13. So 1 to 13 is only. It's not 13 months.
No, but that's just how many months it is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at myself.
So it'd be 12. It'd be 12. It'd be 12.
January 1st.
First of all, you don't have white.
Oh.
Did you just look up what month is January?
It's the first month.
It's like,
Yeah, did you not know that?
No, I knew that.
No.
We got the
This
7th.
thing
Well, why is it?
Yeah, but you're starting at 1. So 1 to 7 is 6. So then it's 7 to 13.
So I can see
another
why.
6, so
This
12.
is
No.
where your deadline is.
So it'd be
Way
5
up high. Think about where the deadline is.
And then it would be just theta minus, or x minus 1 plus 6 or whatever.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is 6, 7,
I think we
9.
got one.
Is that right or is that wrong?
Yeah, that's what I don't know. I think that's gonna be the midpoint, so that's wrong. I'm gonna say it's,
Do you think it's the wrong?
and then it goes 4 seconds.
Oh, wait, no.
Dude, my graphs are super green.
Well,
then in
let's just do
July,
this. 6, 7, 5, 1, 20.
Look, my, it's, yeah.
So that would mean I would need.
That's what I.
What's your name, Miss Brewer?
I was looking for Hobby.
She's not here today. She's not. She'll be back tomorrow. Great. Let's just go.
Really, you like my graph?
That's what I got.
What did you do? I think I did it.
You gotta condense it.
Darn it.
And then after 40 seconds.
Hey, it's the food bar. Bro, it's gonna be green. I know I gotta do it.
Staying in like the y-axis going 0 to 100.
Something's still not right. Why is your graph?
Remember, you got the
Let's just do this.
Starts there. To there. Oh, I got that right.
Try that.
What month is it?
So 11.
For what? It's not even that high.
I don't know.
If it goes up, it should be.
So it's an inverse. Wait.
Yeah.
If you
So
have your
this,
function right now.
it's an inverse.
Go get it.
We're just starting at
Yeah. So the midline is what? 6, 7. Yeah, because it's 500. So that'd be 350. Wait.
No.
Yeah,
Midline-
no, yeah.
Yeah, you got it. Or whatever. Yeah.
Is it? Or just start right now once.
Ryan.
That's okay.
So like 4 seconds. Yeah. So K. 6, 7, 8. And B2 equals 675 to 850.
Everything's working now.
So
You
100.
can see a graph already.
He's saying like a full rotation.
Now, the only thing you had different is you had brackets here. I don't,
So that's a full rotation.
maybe it doesn't.
At 8 seconds.
So
Maybe to max.
D.
Wait, hold on. You might be able to do something,
But I don't like
but I don't like it.
it. That's the opposite of what I would do.
Yeah.
That's why it doesn't like them.
And then it goes around again.
It doesn't like the brackets like this. That's weird.
Okay, so.
I wonder if there's brackets here that it does accept.
I just finished it.
See how it's not showing any kind of brackets here? That's why it doesn't recognize. Because this is the keyboard that it really recognizes, but you can use this instead, so it won't recognize brackets there. Never realized that. I always
Did you
just
get
type
C?
this in my
What?
typing.
Did you get C? Oh yeah, you got it.
No!
I'm doing the next one. Yeah.
I'm using inverse. What? But it starts at the middle. That's why I don't know. Last week. Wait, it goes up to. You're right.
Mr.
I thought it was Saturday. Change.
Mr. Snyder,
Which I now got fired. Computer radio station.
Mr. Snyder,
Yeah, fired.
Mr. Snyder,
So you get negative 24 cosine of I root of x plus 1 half. This one. Try to do it instead. Is it that way? Yeah. If I'm 4 is 72, we can get to the top.
Wait, what do you
So we should just, it's like a platform.
If you look at it, you don't
adjust?
start at the
Alright,
very
so
bottom.
Riley
It's
told me
just
to
a
do-
horizontal shift.
Do the x-axis.
So
Exactly.
basically,
Needs to be
Wait, no,
wrong.
do the
You
y-axis.
get
Just
a-
the.
basically, so if you
900.
started at the very
Okay.
bottom, you get to the
You
top.
get
And then
36.
x-axis, I think you
36, so
or
if you're
12.
getting
I
at
don't know.
the
Yeah,
top
that's
at
the-
42 seconds, then
Yeah,
you're
that
six-
should make the graph.
Yeah, you're 6 seconds ahead.
So
of
are we
the
going
other.
down this way?
No,
Like, wouldn't it be shorter then?
yeah, because you're starting higher
But it
up.
says they get to the top at 42 from where they're at. We don't know where they're at. That's another indication.
There we go.
Yeah,
So
they-
it should be shorter than 36. But it's 42.
starting.
So that's why I'm like, maybe it's going this way, because it would be longer than that way.
That was going, so yeah.
No, we do know which way it's from, just pump. There's literally an arrow.
Yeah.
Technically
it does.
You can't ignore the arrow. But if you start,
Yeah.
if
So
you
you
start
get
here, it should be
587.
less
Yep,
than
587.
36, and saying it's 42.
Oh.
That makes no
I think
sense.
it just put it on the wrong side.
What's going on here? I hear you guys.
Number 6.
What about it?
If we start like halfway in quadrant 4, it should be less than 36 to get to the top, but you're saying it's 42.
Wait, as you ride a Ferris wheel, your distance from the ground varies sinusoidally with time. Your speed is at some unknown height of the ground at the start. And I showed you where it was. It takes you 42 seconds. Oh, that's supposed to be on the other flip of that.
So the mean
Yeah.
is supposed to be on the other side.
The me is supposed to be at that reflection of that across the other side, guys. Yeah.
Wait, so what's the graph? Is the
It starts at 0.
Okay.
Yep.
All right, so let's put that up on the board.
Okay, so then that's 6.
Oh boy.
So it's.
I'm just gonna go to that one. Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, no, the next one's the next one.
Yeah.
Oh, so wait, hold on.
So your distance finding is variability.
Starting 6 seconds. It's negative, but when you put it in, it's -8.
Your seed is some unknown height.
But like, so when we graph it,
30
you'd have
meters.
to actually do another y-axis.
Wheel makes
42 seconds to reach the
Oh, yeah, you don't need that. Alright, I'll do
Well, well, no, we wanted more than that.
Max.
What?
Max is 30.
Oh, yeah, because you want it to repeat.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 30.
The radius is 14 meters.
Okay. But it starts. So it'll be 28. So then the min is 2. So.
Okay, so the minimum is 2
So
meters.
14 is the mid.
So go for the y-axis, go from 2 to,
Oh, yeah.
go by 2s.
Yeah, I divide by
Wait, 2, no, go by 4.
I did by
The max is,
the max
But
is
it
30.
starts. Oh, wait, are you at?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so that makes sense, yeah.
So yeah, 30 minus 2 is 28.
The
Yeah,
wheel
2 would be 16.
makes
Does that
one
make sense?
revolution every 72 seconds.
Yeah, I got.
Yeah,
So
so it's gonna need to be about 7 seconds long.
Yes. That's,
That's the max. No, but the other ones are.
yeah, but you don't know where you start.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what.
yeah, well,
You're losing 2 feet because you're not starting on ground level. You're losing
Radius of
Is
the
it 2? 14
Yeah.
to 2 is 12, but 14 to 30 is.
so we don't know the,
So it's.
We don't know where we start.
oh,
but
we
know
don't need
It
that.
goes like here.
Well, yeah, 'cause that's-
This is the max, right?
H,
And it's-
right?
Yeah, it's 16 because if it
Hey,
14 is not the middle.
yeah.
Because
Yeah,
as
yeah.
long as you add them, because you're losing 2 feet, that's not. So you're just finding the average. I don't know. That's just. A equals. So then A is 14.
So- You can find whatever.
C. Yeah. So that means K is 16.
5 over
A
7.
equals, hard. Yeah.
What do you go by for this?
-6. Yeah.
Yeah, I just did 7, but
So then we just need to find B. B is 61 revolution. Oh, it's 2 pi over 72. It's so pi over 36. That's a line. And it starts at a minimum. So it'll be y equals -14. So
We only need to go 72, right?
yeah.
x plus 6
Okay, so the max is,
less
40.
no, at 42 seconds, you're 30 meters.
Yeah, so your 30 meters, the min is 2.
I want to try to grab
Right.
it.
Yeah. But the minimum
the
is
rate?
2.
You need the
Yeah, yeah.
You probably do, but
Probably do. I'm just trying to like grab. Okay, so
assignments.
so the minimum is 2. And you start at 0.
Yeah, but we don't know. Okay, wait. So we know that
Oh yeah, we don't know.
at 72 seconds you're back at ground, right?
No, that's just saying it rotates.
Yeah, that's one revolution.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's
Wouldn't
not saying
72 be at 2 meters?
So that's we hit the top at 30 seconds, not 30. So that means
Because
x minus 42.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I did
But it's just
that.
saying you don't know where. I don't.
that's true,
I
because
don't
you could start there
You're
and
doing
then
like what you're doing. You're just trying to model the rotation.
Yeah, I did the number.
So yeah, I don't. Yeah, so then I think.
no, I don't do it. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure it is after another 42 seconds. Which is no.
What about 30?
Yeah, 72. You're at 0.
So you're at 2, right?
2.
28, and then
72.
No, the B has to be right. So then the H would be the stronger. But then.
Well, could you start there? No, I know.
It starts 6 seconds behind.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah, H is
I don't know what to keep on there.
Nope. It's minus 6. Because then I get
A sign or
put it in.
we have to do something.
Wait.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense because look, you go from 2 to 42,
And
No,
then
so I'm right. Look. 42.
Which doesn't matter.
plus 6.
Because 42 plus 42 is 84.
And it starts
So it should be at 84.
Which is technically.
So it's basically saying
That
you start somewhere here.
If you look at it.
You don't start at 0.
Yeah. How was you right though? That doesn't make any logical
the
sense.
0 is like one of the point.
No, because
Well, when we start-
put it in the 30,
So from here to
13.
here.
We're messed
up. Wait, so then that's not.
Yeah.
Maybe we were.
Confusing.
Maybe it is plus.
See, we have to do
So
something
maybe,
else.
so we're just going to.
Yeah, I always just putting it in the filter.
Your distance.
Well, we can find A and K
I'd say.
and
Oh, the actual page.
B, right?
How? Okay, so then.
Yeah, we can find A and K.
And B.
So K is 2 plus.
That's gonna be your amplitude.
What's the max for
And then.
30?
30, yeah.
So it's 32 divided by 2.
Platform
This is
Nine,
17.
Yeah.
is your
16?
17.
We're kind of at a standstill on this one.
16.
What?
32 plus 2?
Divide, no, 30 plus 2.
Oh,
So 32 divided by 2.
yeah.
No, you-
I did
Alright,
30.
so K,
32.
so K equals
So then
7 or 16. Then A would equal
2 feet off the
Yes,
2 meters off the ground, right?
Yep, so A is 14. And we just need
That's
H.
basically.
We don't know H, that's what we need to
You got that. So we
Well, what's B? What
B, B would be,
I did pi over this.
so it goes from 0 to 72. So yeah,
Pi divided
So pi
by
over
72,
Gradient.
pi over 36.
It's pi over 48. It's pi over 48.
No, it's not.
No, it's, we guessed it.
That's just
not
not
your
Gives you
75.
42 seconds.
Because, Riley,
What?
one full rotation is 7
Revolution is 75
Yes,
seconds.
I know, but
But
it
then
does.
you do
But it doesn't.
You do Okay, now H.
yeah, H is,
So look, I have it right now. Because if we start there, then we get to 42.
wait, how do you find out where you start?
I kinda just.
It was like 6 seconds.
Wait, no, where we start?
Yeah.
It's
-6. We're starting right here. It's wrong. Because the key's right here. You have to reflect it over. Right?
Oh, I didn't even see that, so that's where you, oh, okay.
But it's wrong. That's
Okay,
right.
I didn't even see that. So tell us how you start using it.
What, it does?
It says me, but it's over here.
Oh.
You've got 6
Yeah,
seconds.
but he said it's supposed to be
6 seconds.
Oh, so we'll just do it as a negative.
So that would be,
Or positive. Alright, here, let me.
that would be a
Okay,
negative.
so.
So it'd just be plus 6.
Yeah, H would just be plus.
Yeah,
Yes.
so let me
It's
check.
next.
Would we put this in a cos negative? Let's see. 6. Cosine.
Yeah, I had 32 too. And then I divided by 2, we get 16 to get 32 over brown. In that case. The radius
Oh.
Plus 6.
Why is it? What would you get?
I got white was negative 14 cosine. That's actually pi over 48. Well, I had pi over 36, but it wasn't right. Well, let me guess and check it. It doesn't look that positive. It has to. So I'm convinced it's positive. Are you keeping it at pi over 48, Ryan? Yeah. It works when you do pi over 48. How? I really don't know. But it just does. What? You don't know. Because if you start at negative 6, and then to get to the top, is that the only one?
Wait, what is
So.
Oh, yeah, it does.
What if you.
Is this the only one? Yeah. Because the B stretch thing needed it to be
Yeah,
stretched
it doesn't.
more. So it had to be bigger than 36. Unless you started.
Well, because 36, you don't get to.
It's saying when you're at negative 6. I see it now.
You're not-
This is the wrong.
You're at the max.
It's not the radius, but like. So from here,
28 meters off.
But you start at 30 seconds, you're at 30 meters. But
How we
it's
got
not.
that?
This is saying
So maybe you don't
I
start
gotta
at
think this is your issue.
Okay, so that was like 14 plus
That's how
14.
you got that.
No, it's not gonna be close to this.
So then to get to negative 642.
Yeah, but
This is your graph right here.
Wait, so
Why
we're
are
gonna
you
do
starting
pi
at negative 6?
Yeah, you could.
Because if you do 42.
No,
which
if
is
you do
how long
plus,
it takes
if
to
you
get
do
to
minus
and
6,
then
you go
from
there.
the half
Like,
point,
look. If you do
Okay,
minus
so-
6,
you
you go, like if
What?
Right.
if you had it where
You know what
like it
really
was
should be
It doesn't
originally,
matter
or like
that
where he
you're
said it
Why?
going
was,
off
where
what
it was
you're
supposed to be,
having.
it's right.
So you get there at 42, but a full rotation is still 72 seconds. So you hit the top again in 72 seconds, so you hit the bottom in 36 seconds, so.
Right.
it's not right.
Yeah.
You know that
Starts
your
at
math
Then
is 42 seconds. That would be X.
But 72
Yeah,
should be at the bottom.
That's not like 60.
It would be
That should be your
72
correct.
again, it would be a top of the rotation.
Oh,
Why are you?
Yeah,
With
but
that?
you start from there.
Okay, what I'm saying is that.
Yeah, so it'd be
Plus.
Yeah.
I think for
I
you,
know that
it's this.
Wait, why'd you do
Yeah.
That's the same thing, because it's a, you started at,
But I don't understand.
Oh, you do?
It's like a
yeah,
Oh.
exact six.
right? Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah,
that
I
is right.
understand.
because it's just inverted.
Yeah, so yeah, that
Because
should,
think of it like this, what,
does that
think
not
of it
work?
like,
Yeah, you do start.
Did you
What
just
you're
put
really
it there?
doing,
At 6 seconds.
I know you,
Yeah,
what's the best way to
it
describe this?
didn't
You
work
get
that.
there at 42
Yeah, there, see, that's what I had right
36 seconds.
What do I
But
So
know
is that not right?
is,
But why are you starting at 6 then? What's the changes?
Pi
Because he told us it was.
It's saying you're,
because,
yeah,
this
no,
is
because
like-
it's saying when you're there, you're at a minimum.
Then 36 has to be
So
less.
if you do.
Oh, hold on. Or else you're not gonna
It
get
doesn't
36.
start at negative 6, because half
Right.
is 30. It just starts
So from
Yeah,
here
doing
to here.
pi
this is what where you wanna start, this is where you wanna find the math.
It just makes it
This-
42.
This is by far,
If you do minus 6,
you find the maximum.
It makes it 30.
No,
If you do this, look where the minimum occurs. The minimum occurs 6 seconds into the ride, which is an X minus 6, that's all. So, but it's not a 541, I don't know why they're saying that,
I don't know either, but.
because it's over 30.
Yeah, you're right, you start.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, no, you're right.
Does it make sense?
You can't go back and,
It's supposed to be negative.
right,
Oh, so your minimum.
I know it. Hold on. I got it.
No, I don't know what it is.
Wow,
I see.
hey, I know what it is,
I don't know, like, hold on.
peace. Is this, you guys still on the bottom, on the last one?
I think we
Okay,
got it.
bring up your own, kind of curious, like, what your issue is.
Yeah, no, we got it.
Okay.
So I'm gonna,
So
No, it was like-
H,
what is
so
the,
it's
You
6.
just had it on there.
what is the issue?
Okay.
Do you have anything written down here?
Oh, you
Oh, a
closed
little
it.
bit.
So if we did,
Now I'm.
so this is what I originally.
Right.
Yeah, I think it was. Then 6 plus.
Right.
Even if we start here.
You're not, stop. 6 seconds into the ride, at P equals a positive 6, you're gonna be, that means this
I think we got
needs
it.
to be over
Yeah,
here. This is 0
But
seconds into
this,
the
so the
ride, not
minimum
6
then
seconds
is
into
at
the ride.
78.
It needs to be a minimum. That means this should be X.
Minus
Yeah.
6 seconds and you should be.
Remember, it's the opposite.
Oh, so then you would add 36.
Okay,
Yeah, so.
That's all.
But like, how would we be behind or something? Where we get on?
Yeah.
Because when I put in 6 seconds,
But
if I put in X equals 6, when I put in X equals 6, it's gonna treat it like a 0. And usually if I have an inverted cosine, 0 minimum starts right there.
Wait, so what are we
That's
trying
what
to
it's
just
at.
write these ways?
Half of it is 36. So if you start
I
from
think.
there.
Yeah, I think that's all we have to do.
And then, so this should be less, from here to here should be less than 36, right? Because a full rotation is 72. So how do you get from here to here, which is starting
Wait, yours
past
is,
it?
hold it, something's not right in this, because we did.
It isn't a minus.
Huh?
That's what I'm.
It's this is the graph right here. 40, so you got this, so what is it you're saying?
So if you started, so if you're saying you started here.
No, I
You
think
did
we're
start
either
there.
close
Started there,
or.
but if you,
Yeah.
but it's saying
We're
you
missing
started
one.
here.
No, you didn't start there.
Yeah, hit the
No.
ground. Like, yeah.
You shift,
I
All
think
I
we're just,
know
we're right. But
is
yeah,
that
we just
that
didn't
this
do it
right
the right
here,
way. We know what we're doing. Yeah,
that t equals 6.
kind of. Yeah, no, we're right.
That means I want to place my minimum. I want the minimum to be at positive 6. It means the phase shift needs to be h minus 6.
Yes, I did.
It's just like the other ones we've done. What do we said, whatever this value is here, it's always x minus that value.
And don't you start at -6?
Huh?
Aren't you starting at -6 because we start behind?
Yeah, that's wrong. It was, you can't, you're not.
You're 6 seconds before 0, right? If you put in negative, that's why
Yeah, so 6
Yeah.
seconds before.
Brian.
you have to think of this as a phase shift. On the function, a phase shift, if I have like a graph at 2 and it's a sine curve like this, let's say, the phase shift on that is x minus 2, not plus 2. That's why this is x minus 6. That's why. It's a phase shift, it's the opposite.
I don't know. Yeah.
Opposite.
I don't know. He's trying.
You just can't have negative.
I don't.
You can't subtract.
Like, it starts at
You
0.
can't subtract.
Because I did a negative. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like, we had it starting at negative minus 1, it really starts at like 0. And then 6 seconds later, that's when.
So
I would subtract.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Negative 14, so sine 536, x minus 6 for 6 this.
I still don't have it down.
Yeah, I still don't know.
Yeah, so you're.
Okay, yeah,
So it's
So it'll be x minus 6.
I'm gonna go ahead and for those of you who have those, I'm gonna I got an extra problem here to put up on the board for you.
Is it negative? X minus 6. Is it negative?
Yeah.
You can do this like on the back of the last page if you want, okay?
Minus 6.
About your minimum
16.
is it like.
Graph that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Oh,
Yeah. Because I wasn't thinking about it being a negative.
well, that's your
Yeah.
right?
I was thinking.
Normalize the result. With the result.
You didn't get it right. I had that happen to me. It doesn't mean it was right. It's so wrong. It's the same out there. I could have wrote Abraham Lincoln.
Maybe I should help shape it.
I got an original one from Lincoln. You want to
Yeah.
I went up.
Yeah, I will bounce to the score.
Yeah.
I had. I saw that.
Probably best not to take.
I just got curious and decided to look at it.
Okay, so you
I'm gonna start it at midnight.
maximum height of 42 seconds, so. It's.
I'm gonna start it.
I think you might want to. I did mine
Started
right
midnight.
before, that would be well. I think some of the points that I did over, that's better than you.
You don't.
Okay, probably should be.
So hello.
Oh, okay.
The negative.
What is the maximum and minimum? I think it's max. I mean, I think that was
11.8 minus 3.
a bit over.
So
The values.
put it.
Yeah,
So
the slow time is
negative
4.8. You just do hours, so 1 to
Because it
6.
starts at A is -4. H, I'm gonna say that shifted 2, because that's 2. And then 17.
Does that make sense to you?
It'd be 24 hours. So, 5 and 12.
Okay, so it's at it is in Portal, so
Yeah.
go
So
ahead.
at 2 a.m. it records at 4.8.
Yeah.
That'd be
4.8. And then what is it? 11? 11.
It would be after.
Right, 8.
So 4
At 8, it's 11 point.
There's no way that's not right. Oh, there's a way. $50.
All right.
You have certain things, but if you take, if you want
The
to
next
get
question
your
kind of
rid
have
of
to graph. I don't know how you can use that calculator. I wish I knew how.
What'd you get for
I am
design?
like this. This is silly. I don't want to.
the midline.
Yeah, I don't use it. Well, now I don't. Why am I not connected to the Wi-Fi? I think it's right.
Oh, it's just what'd you get?
8.3. Is that right?
Yeah, it should just be those two divided by 2.
Yeah.
Mine's just like.
And it would be- What would be the period?
Mine says
Because it would be
2, it's 5.
It's a 12 hours.
So it'd be 2 to 8, which is 6 to another
Oh, I
6.
So 12.
Yeah, 14.
14.
No. Yeah, 12 hours.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
wait, hold
I
on. I can find it.
Wait, 2 to 8.
Yeah, and at like another low tide would be at
Y equals 6.
it'd be at another 2 in the morning. But yeah, the period is 12 hours.
Okay, so then
So that's pi over 6.
pi over 6. And then h would be, because you start at 2.
2. So, yeah, 2.
Minus 2.
Yeah.
Then should this be a, it could be negative. You could do inverted because
What'd you get for the absolute value?
or amplitude 3.5. I think
Yeah, so it'd be like
Yeah.
515 to 1.
cosine of,
Are you doing normal cosine? Negative.
no, because it starts at
Yeah, I just didn't know if you.
10, what? 10, 22.73. Plus 4. Yeah. 515 to 1040. So that's 23. Yeah, I get 0.73
You get pi over 6.
times 43.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about my whole winter?
So if you're going to dial off the value, you want to trade that with minimize.
I'm gonna graph it.
15.7. So 5:15 a.m. So 10:40. Yeah. 10:60.
2 a.m. is 4.8.
I think you would add.
Okay, we're right on that. You have the graph right. So if you dive off the dot, you want to make sure that that
For a second. So it'd be
6 feet for safety. What time of the day?
So it's saying what times of the day. So you just do
minus.
y,
I gotta do
y equals
the 5.
6. So any time above that.
Because it says during what time? Doesn't
So-
Wait, well, no, it
so-
should be y.
You only use 2 points on one.
It should be x, right?
No, it'd be y. Because this is the height. So it's saying the
Yeah, but
height.
since you want the,
You want the height to be above 6
oh,
feet.
you want the
So it
time.
would be just a line.
Yeah, you want to know what hour this
From
is.
here to here.
You can.
Because it has to be less.
So
That's actually at least 6.
anytime.
After,
So from 3, whatever that, some 3.6 a.m. to 12.3. But I don't know what that would be in like
I ran that
hour.
Well, would that be 3:30 to 12, 15?
So then it would be 25.
Because
I don't think it's gonna be like a perfect number.
Do you have an answer for this one?
So,
so we got the graph. The graph is
Yeah.
it's just 4.8.
so what line is that?
So it's just saying any time from here to there. How would you convert a decimal into average? How would you convert a decimal into
I put I in here, negative, you're inverting it, that's right. I've got cosine, pi over 6. So.
Wait,
How did you get?
I got 5 or 6.
Okay, this is right. This is right. It's every 12 hours. That's
Why?
5 or 12, 5 or 6. That's good.
We have the graph.
2.
Okay.
Okay, so that should be a plus.
Well, yeah, the second. So you do y. You have to do
Because usually where we are on cosine curve is
So it
starting
says it has to be a minimum of 6.
But ours is
So
starting
it has to be
2
at
hours
least
and
6
so
feet.
it's
so
plus
it's
2.
just this
That's
section.
why.
The opposite.
Then y.
Okay, so this should be an X.
Greater than or equal
Well, you
to
put a
6.
minus 2 there. No, that's fine. So did it work for you? Did you graph it?
Yeah.
How did it look? A little rough. Okay, let's look at it together. Let's look at it.
Oh, it is. Because it's a full day. At any time of the day.
Oh, okay.
24 hours.
Would you read it to me here so I can just type it in? Y equals.
Okay, we got that wrong.
Yeah,
It would be
Why
anywhere
do you get
from
it
here around this time of day.
Yep.
Would be over 6 feet.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because how do you
to convert them to time.
just do?
And you do 60 times 22,
That's
61.
okay, and that's the minutes.
Yeah, that's the minutes, and it'd be like 5.
5, whatever.
And then do the same thing for the hours.
Okay, so
So it would be that one.
is that in the yeah? That's in the morning.
Yeah.
It says
Okay, so let's see here. So we know at 2 a.m. 4.8.
It's
Is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
That's why you.
This would be at 8 a.m. Is that right? Yes.
Wait, what'd you get?
This should be at
So
2
it'd be
p.m., which
from
is the same as
5:15 or 5:16.
What? Yeah. those look-
5:16
those look great.
in the AM
8 p.m.
to
Those are good. Nothing wrong with that at all. That's exactly what it is. So then,
Oh,
so that's the answer.
what's
So then it asks
22?
you.
That'd be
So you talking about the second part here? So tell me how you did that.
Well, what's 24 minus? Is that how they do
Is that
it?
two?
It'd be 2.
well, 12 is
Perfect. That's what I
12.
was showing you.
So then
How would it be? This is a whole day.
wait, I'm confused.
Okay,
It'd be 10 o'clock.
Our craft is maybe in the second.
not 8 a.m.
Yeah.
That's actually
It's
12.
24. It's 12 a.m. So that'd be 8 or 10.7.
So yeah, so you're telling me from here to here, anytime,
That'd be 10:44.
anytime from here to here. This is what, doesn't ask for a
Yeah.
date. So if you want the depth to be the minimum, so you want the depth to be something like this.
Hey guys, don't.
Otherwise, if you're diving in during this time, it's less than 6 feet, it's just cracking everywhere.
Oh, I thought that said Friday.
No, you're gonna dive up the dock, and you want to make sure the depth is a minimum. So it can be higher than that, but it can't be lower than that. So you don't want this section, you want,
Yeah, so I did that part reverse.
okay, there you go.
That's saying. So if I-
But the technique you're thinking is perfect.
So if I just basically switch, but everything in the middle of this, I don't have to do it.
Yeah, from here, yeah, exactly.
From.
This is AM, PM, and then there's another one here to here.
What?
Right.
Well, because it's one full day. We didn't have it. So we did from 1 a.m. to 12.
Yeah, until a little after midnight.
And then it says any time, which is 24 hours.
You got it,
We
exactly.
only did 12 hours.
Oh.
We only did half of it.
Yeah.
So we were half. Yeah.
So if you got this
This was
right.
I know our graph.
We're gonna go over these tomorrow. You come in, I'll just put them up. And then I'm gonna have a challenge for you tomorrow. I mean, a true challenge. Oh, no, tomorrow, well, we'll start with some easy ones to get your brains working with, and I have one that's an absolute challenge. No. No, you may not.
No.
I'm an 8, so it's not. Yeah. I was wrong. You know, 8, 6.
What?
I was wrong. It's 5 or 6.
I was about to say that doesn't make sense. It was 5 over 6 because it happens every 6 hours.
So then
So then we gotta redo all of it.
How would you know it's 12?
Because it says it's from 2 a.m. to 8, so that's 6 hours, and then another 6 hours would be
That's a
11.
minimum to a maximum. Min to max is half of the period.
Oh. Then 6 hours would be
I
half.
have to graph this again.
Yeah. If I give you a max and a min, I'm giving you half the period every single time.
see, we were right.
Wait, do you have it still for
I do.
So these are that's 3 points. So it's from 3 something. Wait.
There's something
You have to do like
12. So it'd be from 3.631.
So I got 3.
It'd be from 338.
Midnight. Here.
Point 12. It'd be at 3:38 a.m. to 12
I think I'm and 3:37.
to 12:22.
By the way, did you get it? Did you get it?
I
It's
did
like
it.
7:38.
We got 338 to 12. I don't know if that's right, but it's
30.
that's good work.
Yeah.
Right on the page.
I was just keeping.
You're the beat.
There.
I like the word problems better.
What? You like the word problems better? You know, they don't have better than one of the other questions. Like what we did on.
Better than the what? Oh, no.
Like from the late page.
One where you just like find the graph or
I don't know.
graph.
I can
No, I like
start it.
I think
That's yeah. I'm gonna fail my Spanish. What?
No, Riley, you're 8 sleep. I didn't really sleep. Did you sleep? I can't believe you didn't study.
Did you?
What? Yeah, I did. Last night, a little bit during this.
Sam. No math.
Yeah, what?
Going over yeah, well, I did. I was up till 3:30 a.m. I don't know. What's the big problem? I like free stuff. Take free problem. What do you got? What do you have so much stuff? What? I don't. Like, I honestly don't. It's so. It's not same. Well, I don't understand.
Separation anxiety, you just decide to walk off.
much? How you doing?
Just surviving. 2 kids in my last class that were taking the practice test did not have a Chromebook.
Of course not.
One of them left his backpack here last Thursday and hasn't been to school since, so now his backpack is lost.
These kids, man.
I don't understand. Some for prejudice chatted.
You recognize them?
No, but she's very chatty. She was talking like louder than this the whole class period to me about her entire life.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, jeez.
Not the time or the place.
I know, and they're trying to take that test. So I'm like,
Yeah,
just
it's like,
hush. They need all the help they can get.
that's good. That's good. This is good. What's that? Sharing.